had this for 2 years now. I want to highlight the things I love and the things I wish a little bit better on this machine. And you can see the wear and tear of this machine over the 2 years, but still, if I just kind of brush off the dust and these are able to be rubbed off, I can basically make it good as new. But yes, the first thing I love is just basically how good it is pushing air. So this is the kind of lower speed, and I'll just push it all the way up. I'm sure you can hear how loud this is right now. Take a listen. And this is just crazy with like how much air is popping out. But this is probably the highest airflow, like air purifier I have tested. Just to give some measurements, it is 7.5, 7.6 airflow. So the airflow is not the highest I've tested, but because this cylinder has and is open from both sides, it can actually output more air versus a lot of the other air purifiers I've tested. They close off one half, so they kind of artificially push more of the air into from one side. So make it seem like they push out more air, but this is actually pushing out more air. Another thing I love is just that it has a kind of right here, the night mode, where you click on it and all the other lights disappear. But I have other air purifiers that for some reason you can't turn off the light. So it's so annoying at night. But this one is a very helpful feature. But I kind of wish this also turned off. That is a little inconvenient, but it is still pretty good. The other thing I love is just like the way this feels when you take it off. There's a magnet that kind of closes it. It feels very satisfying to open and close. But you go in here and you can see this is the carbon filter. And this is not just a standard carbon filter. It has a kind of hexagons with a bunch of carbon bits in it. So this I found to be better at filtering kind of smells and odor. So that's what I really love about this. And lastly, it has a little neat kind of crevice here where you kind of wrap the cables around. So this is a little neat cable organizer where if you wrap it around, because this part right here kind of sticks somewhere, you're never going to be able to see the cables. So that's what I really love about this. It thought of mostly everything about this machine. But one thing that I will move on to the concerns is that there are no rubberized kind of fits right here. This is just plastic. So they have some kind of Floyd or kind of some type that is able to be scratched. This is not great. I would prefer just like 3 or 4 felt paddings. You can obviously buy your own, but I wish a product like this came with itself. Another thing that I wish was better is the night mode. Because the way this is designed, it is meant for sleep. So even the kind of noise level is reduced and the fan speed is also reduced. So when you want to pump up the fan speed, you can pump it up, but all the lights return. So when you put it on night mode again, it kind of dims down everything again. So you can't really choose the speed when it is on night mode. So that is a little bit unfortunate. Another thing, it has a check filter option right here, but it's not a button. This is also not in button. I'm assuming when it kind of check filter comes up, it kind of lights up, it kind of lets you know what the status is. But I do wish there was a button I can click on to see the status or the health of my filter currently. So that would be very helpful to kind of help me organize when I would need a new filter. But overall, those are very minor gripes. And compared to their advantages, this is still one of my favorite air purifiers out there because of just the pure amount of power and air it can push through. So next we can kind of assess the wear and tear. Although I've had this for 2 years, I've replaced the filter quite many times. I haven't replaced it recently. I haven't cleaned up recently. So this has just been on the back burner for a while. So this is what you should expect. There is some kind of, I'm not too sure what that is. And there are some dust accumulated on here. So this is what you should expect by using it for a long time. And there's also some dust right here where you can kind of vacuum. I usually just vacuum all this. There are dust accumulation there, dust accumulation down there. So you take this off. Now you also see the carbon filter. Some of the carbon doesn't look as black as the top ones here, down here, because they have been used. There are some dust right here too, so it gets through the kind of first line of defense mesh. And this is the HEPA filter. The HEPA filter doesn't look as white as the first day I've got it. Yeah, this is what you should expect. But when I go into here, thank God there's no dust. That means all the filters are working. There's some little tiny bits of dust, but that is where the filter kind of sits. So it makes sense that it's not going to be filtered out there by any line behind the actual filter. Not much dust or kind of dirt. So that is a good sign that it's working perfectly. And lastly, let me just kind of demonstrate how great the seal is on this. I have the night mode, which is the lowest airflow right now. You can barely hear it. I can barely feel it. But when I take this off, I kind of just push it and kind of suctions in. I don't know if you can tell, but I let it go. It just sucks the filter in because the seal is so good on this that it's pulling the air filter back. See? Then you put it out more and it sucks it back. So that is very impressive for the seal. So that means all the air, it's going through the actual filter. So that means it's doing its job. It's doing its job greatly. So this is definitely a must try because this is definitely one of my favorite air purifiers. So check